This is the start of the level. This sign here, that's lit up by this lantern that's fell off the top of it, will tell you that there's a pathway running through the mountain to help the player kind of decide that this is where they should be going to start the level. So this is the critical path for the level, and they'll just kind of head up. The trees kind of highlight the fact that that's the only path that they can take through it. When the player's at the top of the mountain, they can either just go straight down, or they can see this vantage point here, which is like kind of indicated by this lantern that kind of lights up this like wooden pier sort of section, where they will be able to see a crane in the distance, a fallen tree on that other path below, and kind of like bright light sort of in the distance. So the player will head down the mountain. When they're at the bottom, they're met with a critical path and the secondary path in. The critical path is shown by the lampposts and the bright light of the scrapyard sign at the end, which creates sort of a tunnel vision for the player. So that tells them that this is where they're supposed to be going. But also there's this broke fence here for the secondary path, which for players who will like explore games more, they'll be rewarded by going down this sort of section with this loot chest or a treasure chest or like a supply crate that'll have some items in that can that gives them a reward. So it might be some coins or maybe like a cosmetic item or something like that. When you keep going and you get up to the fallen down tree, there is a truck that's been stopped by it, and then an NPC. And this NPC will be kind of like wandering around this sort of area. He'll keep looking towards the player, where the player is, so they'll have to kind of take cover behind the fallen tree, and they'll like kind of verbalize, oh, when's the rescue car coming, that kind of thing. So a car to come and move this tree, or just kind of like give him a lift home maybe from the scrapyard. He might also come and like kick the tree maybe, or like kick the car, or like maybe like check his hair in the wing mirror or something. But it'll kind of like constantly be here, so the player won't be able to move. But every now and again they'll come and light a cigarette here in this sort of section, looking at the lamppost and like kind of commenting on the fact that the trees have fell and stuff like that. So when that'll give the player sort of like a more realistic reason as to why his back is turned. So then that will allow the player to head down and continue along this critical path. When they get towards the end and they get to the scrapyard, they can like see the crane, and they can see this large light here that's a large light source which is lighting up the sign, which indicates that it is the scrapyard, which is their objective, what they've been looking for. The gate will be locked, and they might get a prompt saying, you know, you need to find another way in, or even the character that the player is playing as might even say, oh, I need to find a different way in or something. These boxes is just to help me get up the fence, because the gate isn't animated. There's a forklift truck here, and also these pipes which are highlighted by this security light here, and the pipes lead all the way around, like bringing attention to the player. They could just walk all the way around this way, but they'll only get to the same place as going around this way. So to get them to take the shorter route is why the pipes are there, to kind of like lead the player around. They'll see this open garage door, and then they could just keep going, but the fact that there's light coming from it will sort of suggest that that's maybe where they should be going. So the player will head through the garage door. There's another forklift and some boxes, but there's also another open door with some stairs in it, and more light coming from there. So the player will kind of head up through here into what is a much darker room. There's only two light sources here. There is the lights from the construction lights in this kind of scaffolding area, which are much brighter than the light coming from the office desk in here. We'll get back to the office in a bit, but the player will probably go this way first, but it doesn't matter. They can like the game still works whether they go this way or this way. But if they go this way, more construction lights kind of shine onto this table, where they can read a note saying about how the boss of the scrapyard kind of like keeps a spare key in the office. So that's kind of to unlock the gate. That will give the player a way how to get in. but it also, this opening in kind of the covering of the scaffolding, gives the player a vantage point of the floodlights at the very far end, which they could assume is the area they're trying to actually get to. They can see parts of the maze of the scrapyard cars, and also some security guards, and this broken, the crane has dropped the car here, so they can see that there's also a path to get up that way as well. So they'll head down, get the key out of the office, off the desk, and then they can head out of this building here, and then back round to the scrapyard fence, which is where they were stopped before. So they'll be able to unlock the fence, and then once they've done that, they can head up here using these cubes to help them get over and that. Oh, sorry, the cubes are for me. They'll just go through the gate, and then once they get here, they can see that the crane light from the crane is shining here, suggesting that's probably where the player wants to go. They'll also see the security guards with the torches, and the torches indicate the kind of like sort of sight line of the security guards, but also help them be more visible in the darkness, as they'll probably only be wearing maybe high vis or something like that. That's probably the most amount of visibility that they'll have. So the torches make it a lot easier for the player to actually see them. There's another forklift here with a box behind it to kind of help the player show that they can hide behind something when the security guards will be wandering this whole area. So they'll kind of come through here, and they can just go around the bottom, but this is the sort of another vantage point section. And there's a slight difference in the terrain, so it's still just kind of trash and scrap in the scrapyard, but they kind of create this sort of path, and that difference in the terrain will tell the player that that's probably where they want to be going. So they can kind of follow those, and they'll get to a third vantage point in the game where they can see the floodlights a lot better. So if they hadn't seen it the first time, they should be able to see it now this time, that that's probably where they want to be. They'll also see the route of these two security guards here, but if they choose not to go that way, and they'd rather go this way instead,